Hi, Marjolaine Walker here with my co-hosts Nancy Kesslin and Carol Hepner. And today we have two very special guests, Guy Kawasaki and Peg Fitzpatrick. And they are authors of the book, The Art of Social Media. And we're so glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So tell us, what makes you experts in the social media field?
Well, we don't say we're experts. Our theory is
Yeah.
that really there are no experts in social media because everyone has the ability to learn a lot and do a great job with it.
So how you like that?
Well, it's hard. I mean, how can we answer that another way, guy? That's what we say, right?
Don't read our book.
Uh, but the reason that people should read our book is because we both have over 10. We would have to go by the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hour rule. We have a lot of time and experience. I recently just passed 100,000 tweets, which is a lot of tweets on Twitter. And Guy has more than me, but I think that our experience and our passion and our knowledge make us people that you could learn from.
Well, I mean, at some level, you know, it's a passion for social media, and that drives most of it. I definitely view social media as a means to an end, and the end is a brand or a positioning or a platform. So now we freely admit we don't know everything. So, my experience in life is when people tell you they don't know everything, at least they're being honest. So when they tell you that they do know something, you should believe them. It's the people who tell you that they know everything that you know they're lying. So, what can you believe from what they say?
Or if they have 100 tweets and they're like, I'm a social media mega
Right,
expert
right.
guru.
And you
Really, with
shouldn't do
100
this.
tweets?
Yeah.
So social media is really huge and overwhelming, I think, for a lot of us. And I'm just wondering, do we really have to be on all of it?
Well, the answer to that is absolutely not. You don't have to be on all of it. It depends on what your goals are. I mean, if your goal is purely social, then, just pick a platform or two and be yourself. But if it's to build a marketing platform, it depends on what kind of positioning you want. So in the craft business, I would think, I forgot to turn off my ringer. In the craft business, I think you would focus on Pinterest and Instagram because of the visual nature of that business. But if you're a marketing service or you're a consultant or something, then it would be LinkedIn. So it's kind of different for depending on what you want to accomplish.
So on social media, we're always told we really have to keep it up to date and be on there every day. How often do you think we should be on Facebook or Twitter?
It
Peg, you
kind
can
of
answer that.
depends. Okay, it kind of depends on what you mean by be on. If you mean posting or having conversations with people. Whenever you have a social media, if you have a social media page as a blog, if you're talking about your crafts on your blog and sharing how-tos, you're going to have to be on every day. You're going to need to post things. That doesn't mean you need to be on all day, but you need to have a couple chunks of time during the day, like maybe in the morning and maybe at night, to check in on messages, to talk to other people. So you do have to be there. I mean, it's kind of like a garden. I like to use a garden analogy and say, if you don't water things and weed things, things aren't going to grow. So people who say social media doesn't work for them, maybe they started the garden, but they never went back and watered and did anything after they planted their seeds. So social media works only when you work. It will work when you're offline as well, but if you don't do anything, it's not going to do anything. So if you want things to do well, then you need to take care of it.
Well, it would kind of be like going to someone on Etsy and saying, well, how often do you do your craft? And you know, what's the minimum I could do every day? I mean, that's kind of the wrong question, right? I mean, the fact that a person would ask something like, well, you know, how long do I have to practice hockey to be good at hockey, or how long do I have to practice golf to be good at golf, or something like that? It kind of impugns your level of passion.
What's your best social media story?
My best social media story. How do you define best? I mean,
Like a social media.
Funniest, maybe?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The funniest story, maybe?
Funniest story. God, do we have funny stories, Big? I mean,
That's all the time. Everything is
yeah,
funny.
but you know, a lot of our funny stories originates because we're dealing with trolls. So, you know, we have great fun tormenting trolls. At least I do.
Well, they try to torment us, but then it doesn't go very well because we usually just flip it around and give it
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Funny social media story. We'll have to think about that one. I can't think of anything that's. I mean, we have some fun stories, like when we worked for Motorola, we traveled around and did big social media events at all these different venues, and we would, you know, sometimes be in a country one day and then the next day another country, and we met so many great people from different places and tried different foods, and I think that was a really unique social media experience. Don't you think so, Guy?
Yep. And well, one funny thing that happened on that tour is we decided to use the hashtag MotoX because that's the name of the Motorola phone. And then there are a lot of people who thought we were talking about motorcycles, as in motocross. And so we got a lot of social media attention because a lot of people thought, oh, you know, we got a lot of motorcycle enthusiasts interested in Motorola phones by accident, let's just say.
Okay, so if I'm new to social media, where do you think is the best place for me to start? I mean, there's so many different platforms, and I know you were saying different ones for different businesses, different types of things, but what's easy? Where can I get started? Do I need to jump in with both feet and, you know, be on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, or is there something that's quick learning curve?
Well, Pinterest may be the easiest because with Pinterest you don't really have to write anything, right? You just have to find great stuff and pin it, which is different than composing a post. So
well, you do actually have to write a description, Guy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like Google Plus or Facebook where you should really write at least a paragraph.
Yeah, you don't have to write a paragraph.
You could just say, I love these shoes.
Yeah, Pinterest, I say you should pick like two, but get to know one really well before you move to another one. So if you were going to do something really visual, you could do Pinterest and Instagram. Instagram is also really easy, and you don't have to post very often there at all. I think you can post the least on Instagram of all the social networks and still do okay to just go on and comment and do things. Where Pinterest now, they do want you to repin things more, but as Guy said, it's, you know, Pinterest is so fun. It doesn't seem like work when you go on and, you know, pin things on your boards. And Twitter would be a great one to add into there to meet new people on hashtags and to find people who are doing what you do to help learn. One of the great things about social media is that you can find other people who are doing what you do and create little networks of bloggers or crafters or people that you can learn how they do things and how they're successful. So you can use it for different things to help you and to help you learn.
Okay, well, during that you mentioned like Instagram, you don't need to post as often. About how many times a day? I mean, how often do I need to post? And like, not necessarily original content, but pinning somebody else's stuff or linking to an interesting article that I read. How much do I need to be out there? Like, you know, do I need to be posting 5 times a day? Is once a day enough?
Well, we can't answer that question unless you tell us the goal, right? I mean, if you want to end up where when you walk into Target, there's your own line of endorsed party goods and designs, then yeah, you're gonna have to work your butt off. On the other hand, if you just want to let people know that you are somehow alive and exist, that's another answer. But you could think of social media like flossing. You should do it at least once a day.
In Instagram, you could post, if you posted one thing on Instagram, you were totally good. Twitter, you do need to post more than once a day. Facebook, if you have a Facebook page with the changes, making organic search a little bit harder on there, I think you need to post more than once a day on Facebook as well. So it really, like Guy said, it depends on your goals and which platform you're on. And, what kind of, the thing that we like to say is, post as much as you want and don't have other people tell you that you're posting too much. The risk of posting too little is that people just don't ever know you're there, and they're never following your things when you do go on. So if you're going to post on your Facebook page once a week, I wouldn't expect anybody to like it or comment. So it's kind of like, why bother at that point? You do need to stay active. That doesn't mean you need to have tons and tons of content going out. If you just have one really great Facebook post a day, that would be better than 5 crummy Facebook posts a day. So it depends on those kind of factors as well.
Okay, well, I know we have quite a few viewers. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask, type them in, and we will get to them. Just, please, if you have anything you'd like to ask Guy or Peg. So, profiles. There's a lot of, I need to make a profile. I need an avatar. Do you have any thoughts on, let's start with avatars. Should it be something cute? Should it be a picture of my kid? What do I do? Where do I put it?
We basically have a chapter about this. So my theory is that the avatar has the sole purpose of convincing people that you're likable, trustworthy, and competent, as opposed to telling your life story. So for me, an avatar should be only your face, asymmetrical, so not smack dab in the middle like you're posing for a mugshot. It should be not a piece of a larger picture. So if 5 of you are at dinner and you take a picture, don't get that picture and cut your face out of it. It should be just your face, because when people click on your avatar, it's going to zoom out, and if you cut a piece of a picture, it's going to zoom out and look terrible. So make a dedicated picture for your avatar. And it should be lit from the front, not the back, and in focus, obviously. But again, this is kind of your best shot, and it's not something that you do casually. This is marketing. The purpose of your avatar is to market you.
And the thing is, when you do all these things and you're looking through Twitter, does your avatar stand out? People make a decision very quickly whether they should follow you or not. So take a look at your own social media from an objective point of view and look, does this stand out? Is it is there any color in it at all? Because a nice pop of color can help. There's a lot of things to think about that seem like 100% common sense, but then when you go on Twitter every day, you see people with a blue head, with no image, with a blurry image. So take a little bit of time to make something that's follow worthy.
And how important is the profile? I know when you're constantly filling them out, sometimes it's easy to just want to rush through them. How important is it to really be specific about what you do?
It's crucial. I mean, this is your resume. Think of your profile on every social media website as your LinkedIn profile. I mean, it should be roughly the same quality, because people are going to make a judgment whether to take you seriously on social media by looking at your avatar and your profile. And people are going to make split-second decisions.
So you want to balance. You want to tell about who you are and add some keywords in there. So if people search for social media or author or entrepreneur or craft person, whatever things that you want to be found for, you want to make sure that they can find you.
Peg, you mentioned some hashtags. Can you talk more about that? Where it's
Yeah.
appropriate to use hashtags and what they're good for?
Mm-hmm.
So hashtags is a way to insert yourself into the flow of people who are already looking at hashtags. So uh, if like let's say there's a hashtag for knitting, so you know that people are who are interested in knitting are already looking at that hashtag. So when you have a knitting relevant story or post, you add that hashtag so other people see you who don't know you already. And it's particularly effective on Instagram. It's particularly not effective on Pinterest. The sensibilities of Pinterest is that you do not use hashtags. But Twitter and Instagram are very, very effective.
Let's talk about comments. I know when you don't have a lot of followers, it's easy to keep up with the comments, but what happens when you have a lot of followers? Can you really answer every single comment that you get on social media platforms?
Well, not every comment needs to be answered, right? So my thing is, if somebody says nice post or all that kind of stuff, I don't answer them. If somebody asks a question, I think that's where you cross the line and you have to answer. So now, I have an unusual case because I get so many comments, but I think you should look for question marks, and when you see a question mark, that should be a little trigger that, oh yeah, you better answer this. But without a question mark, now you can be a really nice person, and every time somebody says nice post, you thank them. Don't get me wrong, but at some point, hopefully your social media becomes so active you just cannot do that. And at that point, I focus on questions.
And I think you do get to a point when you can't answer everything. You just do the best that you can. In an interview that we had with Marquez Brownlee, he's got like 2 million subscribers on YouTube, and he's got followers everywhere. He has a great way that he does it, which is he tries to answer the questions that a lot of people ask. So it helps, it's kind of answering more than one person's question. So if you can't answer everything, answer the thing that might answer more than one person's question, so at least it's helpful to a lot of people.
So a few times you've mentioned your book. What is this book? Where do I get your book? How do I use your book?
So the book is called The Art of Social Media, and it is more than 100 very practical and tactical tips that Peg and I use in our social media practices. So what we're trying to do is pass on as much knowledge as quickly as possible, as easily as possible, so that people can come up and master social media. That's the whole goal of the book.
And you can find it everywhere where fine books are sold. We're on Amazon and Apple and Google Play, and you can read it on your Kindle, or you can get the Kindle app for your smartphone or iPad. So it's we're kind of everywhere. Amazon. We have a website called art.social, and there's links on there where you can find all the different places, well, some of the different places it's for sale, as well as take a quiz that Mr. Kawasaki developed that has questions that you can check and see what your social media abilities are.
What is the biggest mistake you can make in social media?
Thinking too much. You should just get out there and start doing it. You're gonna make mistakes. Peggy and I make mistakes. You learn. You go on. It's not a perfect world. Don't worry about it so much. It's not the end of the world. If United can break a guitar and somebody writes a song about that and 30 million people see the video and United is still here, you can have a few mistakes. Nothing's gonna happen. Just go have fun.
Good one. I would say also not being nice to people. I think that is a mistake in life and in social media. I think sometimes people hide behind not being face to face with people, and I think that can really not be be a good idea. And also just not being yourself. Like people worry, they get kind of nervous or they try to create some different persona. Just be yourself.
Assuming you're not a psychopath. I mean.
Yeah, I know. I was going to go to the other ones. Be yourself unless you're a, something, and then, always be that. But yeah, I mean, it's like that's like the most common sense kind of thing that we don't normally talk about in our book, but it's one of the things that people, you want people to see you online and then meet you in person at a conference and say, "Oh my gosh, you're exactly like you are online." Imagine that. You're yourself all the time. You're, all the things that you are. And that doesn't mean you have to be outgoing, or it just means that you're you. So if you're quieter, be quieter. If you're a little bit more outgoing, be outgoing. But that's what makes people interesting in life and in social media is just, be you and embrace all those things.
So are there any quick and dirty analytics tips that you have? Designers aren't always ready to dive into Google Analytics, but are there easy ways to track blogs, Pinterest, Instagram? Is that in your book?
We don't really cover too much on analytics, but we use the ones that are on the different platforms. We use Google Analytics. I use Google Analytics for my blog. And then Facebook, I like to use Facebook Insights and Pinterest Analytics. If you are, if you have a blog, you should have a Pinterest for Business account, which is free. You just upgrade your account. They do want bloggers to have the business accounts. And then they have great analytics where you can see your most popular pins. But I don't focus as much on analytics. If you're a blogger and you're writing things, I kind of focus more on how many shares it gets, because it's great when people come and land on your blog, but how many people were inspired to share it? And those are the things that I focus on. If a blog didn't get a lot of shares, then I think to myself, is this the wrong topic? Did I not cover it well enough? Were people not interested in it? So I kind of look at the social sharing, and I kind of gauge, the popularity by how many people liked it so much that they shared it with other people. And then we kind of do that with our social media too. Was this Facebook post popular? Did a lot of people like it and share it? So, because sharing is the ultimate currency on social media, whether it's a Facebook post or a blog post or a tweet. Did anybody like it so much that they shared it? And then when you find the little secret recipe for what your audience likes, do it in a different, keep doing it, repeat it. Make it the same length, make it the same kind of photo. Write something funny, write something serious, whatever way that people liked it. You don't want to repeat the same exact thing, but if I come up with a little formula that works for a graphic that was popular on Pinterest, I will certainly reproduce it in different colors with a different image, but keep the format of it the same. So find your successes in the ways that work for you. You don't necessarily have to use analytics, but common sense and staying in touch with your audience is great.
My analytics is I do what Peggy tells me.
Yeah. Someday I'm gonna have somebody edit all these things together when you say, I just do what Peggy says. You and my dog listen to me. It's great. Sometimes my dog.
That's more than listen to me.
Don't your dog listen to you?
No.
They don't?
No.
Okay, so I want people to find me. I want people to like me. I want people to share hashtags. What is the best way to find hashtags that are appropriate to use, and how do I know which ones are being used the most?
A really super awesome thing to do is go on Fiverr and have someone do hashtag research for $5. I did that for our book, and I found some great hashtags that I didn't even think of myself. I didn't even tell a guy that. Great little Fiverr task. Hashtags, a free way, if you don't want to spend $5, is you can look on Google+. If you post something for, say, hashtag social media, and you do a search for that, it pulls up like a big list of like 20 other ones right there that other people are using that are related. That's a great way to find related hashtags. If you're on Instagram, there's apps you can have on your phone to find groups of hashtags that you can just cut and paste right out of there and paste it into Instagram. And if you're on Twitter, you can check the trending hashtags. Those can sometimes be funny, but the really popular ones on Twitter, you have to be careful because those usually get inappropriate pretty fast. And so sometimes they're entertaining. I love the ones where people just spend all day like making up movie titles that have to do with food, or like the crazy fun ones. Those are funny. But if you're looking for ones to help your business grow, you want to do a little bit of research. It honestly doesn't take that much. Just check the hashtags to make sure that all the content going in there is appropriate for what you're sharing, and then jump in and use the hashtag and be consistent with your hashtags. If you're creating one for your blog or your business, make sure it's easy to spell and something that other people would want to use. That's one mistake I see with hashtags is, if Guy does one that's like Guy Tips or Guy Kawasaki's Tips, I mean, maybe because Guy is Guy, people would still use that, but if it's me making it for me, no one's going to use that. I mean, that being said, for some reason I saw in an Instagram post someone had hashtag my name instead of mention me, and I was like, wow, I'm a hashtag, woohoo! But that's not normal. So you want to just check the hashtags first, especially on Twitter, to make sure that the things that go in there are relevant. If you really don't need a lot. I mean, I would say 6 at the most that you use consistently, but I would say, gosh, 6, do we even use 6? It depends on what we're working on. Like, Guy's stuff will change depending on what book he's working on. And then we'll have different groups. Like for author, publisher, entrepreneur, it's obviously writers, authors. For art of social media, we use social media. We use hashtag art of social. But you want to just keep it to a smaller group. And it's not that complicated. That is something I'm going to write about, though, because this is like the 3rd time someone's been like, how do I do hashtag research? I will share more on that.
With all the social media, is it still important to be on the blogging scene?
What do you think, Guy?
We differ here. I don't blog anymore. Whenever I get inspired to that level, I post something on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. But Peggy has a different opinion, so I'll let her explain her theory.
But, let's go back to your theory. You were a blogger. You were a blogger when it was new. You were when blogging was brand new. That's part of how you built your online name, was writing awesome content. And your blog name is amazing. How to Change the World. I mean, come on. That's a really great blog tagline. And people still read your blog, even though it's like super old. It still gets quoted in books. So Guy's blog content, he may not be writing weekly anymore because he's too busy, but it stands the test of time for being awesome. So by your own, you might not be doing it now, but all the great stuff that you did then still is relevant for people. And I do think it's important for people to have a blog to share your longer form content. It's great to share short updates, but when you write on your blog, it's your own longer form thoughts, so it's good to have.
Well, you still blog a lot, right?
I still blog a lot.
Yeah.
Guess what? My blog got nominated in the Social Media Examiner Top Blogs of the Year.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I know. I was like super excited. Rebecca's did too.
Okay, so we're just about at the half-hour mark. What are you guys working on next? I know, Peggy, you said you're going to do something on hashtags for us.
Yep. Better do that tomorrow.
Is there something coming down the road that we should look for?
Well, I have a book coming out in March called The Art of the Start version 2. So I've revised completely my book because it was 10 years old. So that's my big project. And day to day, I work for Canva. So Canva is this awesome online graphics service where you can create great graphics in a matter of minutes. And we're trying to democratize design, so you don't have to buy expensive programs and spend months and months learning the programs. So people, in your community will love Canva. What they can do with Canva is just mind expanding.
Mm-hmm. And easy and free. All the great things for when you're starting out.
Yeah.
What am I working on? I'm working on the book launch for The Art of the start, hopefully. When I get there, I'm still working on Art of Social. And then, I'll work on another book, and then Guy will work on it with me too, because as he says, I'm so enchanted. I don't have my book right here. On the front of Enchantment, you wrote, which you write to a lot of people, resisting you is futile. So that's how it is when I want to write. And then we do have a webinar coming up soon with HubSpot if you want to sign up for that and learn a little bit more about our book.
Okay, great. So again, tell us the name of your book and your website. And where can we find you? You said The Art of Social Media. What is it?
It's actually art of .social. It's a .social, not a .com. So okay. It's a cool website that looks much like the book.
Yeah, this is the cover.
And it is available now. I know I picked it up. It was a great beach read over the holidays.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if anybody who's watching has any further questions, please leave them in the comments for the video, and we will do our best to get the answers for you. Thank you, Guy Kawasaki, Peg Fitzpatrick, Carol Hepner for coming. Marcia Lane, always a pleasure. And we will talk to you all again soon. Does anybody have anything else to add before we?
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.